One of the things I feel like founders are not able to talk about enough is founder burnout. It's something that I've heard so many entrepreneurs talk about after the fact. When they've hit a place of burnout, they've had to, walk away from something that they absolutely loved because they just couldn't keep going, or the burnout had some detrimental effect on the success of the company, or they've made it all the way through to a successful exit and then they just completely fall apart. When you look at the statistics show that 70% of founders are dealing with some kind of mental health problem. This to me is a crisis. And largely because entrepreneurs are the people that are building our future. And if those individuals aren't healthy and strong and well-rounded and balanced, if they're dysregulated in this fundamental way, and that's what burnout creates in our adrenal system, in our nervous system, we're not able to be balanced and regulated when we're experiencing those symptoms. That then has a flow-on effect to the way that you make decisions, to the way that you build teams, and ultimately to the way in which your company solves the problems it's solving. So today we're going to talk about burnout. My aim here is to bring awareness to just how real this is and try to introduce some solutions and strategies. Not that I have all the answers at all, because this is something I actively deal with. But through that journey, I've had to adjust a lot of my lifestyle and a lot of the ways I think about health in order to sustain a baseline that gets me through the reality of what it means to be a startup founder. Let's get into it. So, burnout is an interesting thing because in the medical system, many doctors still don't recognize adrenal fatigue and burnout as a real diagnosis. From my experience, it is 100% real, and you're going to know that you have this because the way that you were able to make decisions once upon a time, if you were able to make decisions with a lot of conviction, with a lot of clarity, if decisions didn't feel like they were really fatiguing to make, this was a sign that you were in a really strong, balanced place. And if somewhere along the way that started to weigh on you, those decisions started to become heavy, that when you knew you had 1,000 decisions to make that day, that was something that even before you were having to make them was putting stress on your body, stress on your nervous system, keeping you awake at night. When you feel like you're going into meetings and you're not able to maintain a continuity of thought. If you're training at gym, if you're needing more time between sets because you just don't have access to the energy that you once did. Your body's moving into more of an energy conservation mode. These are all really critical signs that you're not dealing as well as you need to be with the stress that's on your plate. And when I say need to be, of course, as an entrepreneur, as the founder of your company, as likely the CEO, when we're not able to have that sense of clarity and that sense of balance, the ricochet of how that impacts the things we're creating is really, really dire at times, if that's something that's not well managed. So the aim here is to get clear and know if this is something that you are experiencing, to be able to be honest with yourself about that and to start to make changes where possible to move out of these symptoms of burnout and into a state where you're able to recover from stress. Again, when a lot of people start learning about this, they kind of put stress in this category of bad. And stress isn't bad at all. Stress is actually very important. We need to be stressed. It's an evolutionary necessity that at times we were stressed, when we were hunting animals and all those kinds of things. But it's when we stay in that sort of low-grade chronic stress for prolonged periods of time and we're not actually properly recovering. The way that we, on an evolutionary sense, we're meant to experience stress is to have peaks of acute stress and then total recovery from stress back into a mode of relaxation. A founder often is dealing with this undercurrent of stress all the time that becomes chronic stress. Is severely linked to things like inflammation. So you might be doing all the right things with your diet and exercise and sleep, and still be experiencing these signs of inflammation and adrenal fatigue, issues with your thyroid, things like this. And it's because there's this low grade stress that's always present in your system. And this isn't something to be complacent about. This is something that absolutely deserves and needs your attention. It's not something that's often picked up in standard kind of physical assessments when you go to the GP. It's only through a very deep interest in more of a longevity and high performance look at health that I've started to really understand the real dynamics of how my adrenal system and endocrine system are affected by this stress over long periods of time. And that's made me very passionate about raising awareness, because a lot of founders just believe that, it's something that's fundamentally wrong with them, that a doctor doesn't validate what you're experiencing, and so it's not real. And you end up feeling like there's nowhere to go. You feel trapped and suffocated because you feel like you're not able to adequately manage the day-to-day load, and yet you have to in order to keep your company afloat. So if that is you, I also just want to give a shout out to my Skool Community. The link is below, because this is something there's founders and entrepreneurs in our community that are so active in supporting one another through these symptoms and living healthier and better lives. And so if you're looking for a community like that, please jump in. If you're new to my channel and this is resonating, just check out what we're up to over at the Institute in Skool, because you don't have to do this alone. I did it alone for a really long time, and that has honestly been one of the hardest parts of my journey as an entrepreneur. So a question you might be thinking is, if this is something that so many people are dealing with, not just entrepreneurs, but really if you look around at society more broadly, right? A lot of people, I believe, are under sort of constant, moderate, chronic stress. Why is this something that isn't really validated, or why are not more people aware of how to look after themselves in this way? And I think it's really a symptom of the modern day that has accelerated so quickly. And so what we're experiencing for the first time really in our evolutionary history is a huge amount of sensory input, and no ability to really relax and defrag. Like, even back in the day, before we had screens and even the television, and way back, we didn't even have like blue light. Naturally, when the sun went down, your melatonin adjusted, you naturally went into a relaxed state, and your body started to prepare for sleep. As an entrepreneur, the chances are you're working all day, you're eating in front of your laptop, which is so bad for your parasympathetic nervous system. You're eating in a stress state, you're not digesting food properly. That creates other metabolic kind of deficiencies and issues. Then you're working on a blue light screen, most likely under blue light, all the way through to very late at night, which is affecting your circadian rhythm. You're then trying to get a good amount of REM and deep sleep. You can see how these modern day cycles are creating profound effects on our whole system. And often when you go to a doctor, they're just doing standard tests and not going deeper into your hormones, your thyroid function, your adrenal system. And so these things don't get picked up. And what I will say is, it's not normal to feel fatigued every day. It's not normal to feel strained every day. It's not normal to have this cycle of work that is pushing you constantly outside your natural circadian rhythm. These are as important to us as they are any other animal. If you watch a newborn baby, if you're a parent or you're an aunt or uncle, you've had a friend that's had a newborn baby, and you see how reliant that baby is on routine, that's because this is important to every single living creature, that there's a cycle that we're a part of, there's an ecosystem that we're a part of, day, night, sunrise, sunset. We're teaching our body with the frequency of meals we eat how to learn that safety. If you're skipping meals all the time, your body is naturally going to go into a stress state because it doesn't know when you're going to feed it next. And so creating these consistencies and prioritizing that safety in our body and that place of relaxation can be incredibly hard when you're an entrepreneur. but it's also essential as a foundation to every single thing that you do beyond that foundation of health. It is so tragic to see how many entrepreneurs will go through amazing, successful exits and then report that they're suicidal because they just, they've ruined their health in the pursuit of the journey. They don't feel like they, have enough close relationships in their life because they weren't able to invest in those relationships, and they deal with a total loss of identity. That's something I do believe is more preventable, at least, than what currently seems to be the case. And it starts with the awareness of being able to have these conversations and get honest with yourself when these signs of burnout are starting to creep in. I think entrepreneurs are notoriously good at ignoring reality as it is. In a way, that's what we're asked to do every day. We're asked to vision the future and ignore the constraints of reality so that we can do the impossible. When it comes to your health, that's really not a smart thing to do. Your body does not care about the vision that you see in 30 years. Your body cares about the way that you're taking care of it today. And you've got to learn, as your responsibility, how to manage your physical, mental, emotional, spiritual health in the everyday, whilst you go out of body and live in, the vision 30 years from now that you have. All right, so I hope today's video was helpful, and if you feel like you're dealing with any signs and symptoms of burnout, again, I want you to hit the subscribe button, give this a like, let us know in the comments what your experience has been with this. This is about building a community where founders feel safe. This is an inclusive channel. It's not a coincidence that you landed here. I want to hear your story. I want to see you guys supporting each other in the comments. And of course, if you're looking for some of that deeper engagement, make sure you join the Institute, which is my Skool community of incredible visionary founders from all over the planet that are interested in health optimization, building business the right way, and basically being a conscious leader in general. Then we're your people. You can join today for free. Other than that, I'll see you in the next video.